Thank you for joining Asia's best radio station.
Download latest podcasts of Carry On Harry Show on iTunes.
Now shake hands with celebrities on Singapore talk show Carry On Harry.
Hi friends, welcome to yet another show with your talk show host Harry Johar. Today we are going to invite book author and adventurer Heidi Siefkas on Carry On Harry talk show to talk and discuss about her book When All Balls Drop.
Well, let's press rewind. The story begins 5.5 years ago in 2009. And at that time, I seemingly had it all, as many professionals and professional women, balancing quite a few things. A successful career in the travel industry. I was a marketing and PR executive in Berlin 1 week, Mexico City the next, at the Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles, and then taking a red eye back to South Florida. I owned a home in South Florida, was happily married to a Brazilian chef, and I was living a healthy and happy lifestyle. Everything seemed perfect. Then on one of my travels, I was located in Hudson River Valley, New York, which is about an hour and a half out of New York City. Very rural, and it was a beautiful fall day. The colors were bursting, and I decided that I wanted to take a walk to appreciate those colors. And I decided to also take out the trash at that time. And out of the blue, a 1,000-pound tree limb struck me. I was on my way to the dumpster with the last night's pizza box, the garbage bag, and I did not hear a thing, see a thing, or consequently feel a thing. The next thing I knew, I awoke in the ICU 5 days later. The title implies that it was much more than just one element in my life that changed on that fall day when the tree struck me. Many times we say that we're juggling a lot of balls, meaning that we're juggling our health, our relationships, our career. And that fall, when I was struck by the tree, it broke my neck, which created a forced pause in my life. I was unable to work. So I had a lot more time to reflect on my career path, as well as my most important relationship at that time, my marriage. And I uncovered that my husband had not been faithful, and it had been a long-term double life of over a year. So not only did I lose my health on that day, I also lost love. And because of my lengthy recovery, I was forced to resign from that position. So the subtitle of the book is called The Upside of Losing Everything. Okay. And what I found through this tremendous loss was that the upside of any situation is perspective and how you reframe it. At first, I was in tremendous pain, almost denial in the situation that I was in. However, what appeared as being in the wrong place at the wrong time was absolutely the opposite. It was an opportunity to redesign my life in the way that became clear through those 9 months of reflection and having that forced pause, which gave me much clarity.
Is there like any kind of a emotional support or any kind of a support system, which really help you, rise above the situation and, take your life back into, a normal way of living?
I think the largest support system that I had came from every corner of the globe. I had my close family that supported me, my mother, my father, I'm an only child, also professional peers and friends, but also acquaintances. As I worked in the travel industry, I had partnerships around the world, and when they heard of what had happened, because I was forced to recover about 3,000 miles away from where my home was, those virtual connections became very important. I found support through people that I did not necessarily imagine. And I call all of these intricately woven relationships, both my family, my long-term friends, my work peers, and other people that I didn't feel were so close, they have now become my clan. And they were the number one support system. But the second was, I would call it my form of meditation. And my form of meditation at that time was something that took a process of about 9 months to actually put words to the meditation. But it was either by going for walks or doing something to shift my mindset to figure out what is the upside, what is the positive spin on what I'm going through. I finally came up with 2 words that became my mantra during this time that I call look up. And even to this day, I tell myself, whether I'm going through a small hurdle or hiccup, such as a traffic jam or a stubbed toe, I say look up. And it means 2 things. One is to be aware of your surroundings, both appreciating the beauty as well as the hazards. In essence, be in the moment and mindful. And the double entendre of the 2 words, look up, it also means to spin each situation positively. Because although I thought I was in the worst situation, it ended up being one of the best opportunities for me to be the architect of this second and more happy life that I have now. I learned that no experience is wasted, that all of the wounds, all of the hiccups, all of the hurdles that we experience turn into wisdom. So I thank my clan for helping me through my full-blown life catastrophe. I thank them to this day for being by my side, but also the mantra, look up, which I share with the readers of When All Balls Drop, as well as its sequel, which will be coming out this September. It is called With New Eyes. I started writing to really heal myself in a journal. And I kept the journal from about 1 month on after I was released from the hospital. I wasn't writing to publish a book at that point. However, it was about a year and a half after the accident. I was physically healed at that time, and I decided to take a walkabout to South America by myself to prove to myself that I was not only physically healed, but mentally and emotionally healed, to travel to a foreign country, to navigate a different language, currency, time zone, and all of the trials and tribulations of travel can lead to. And it was on a hike with 4 other strangers, 2 Americans and 2 Romanians, that I shared with them my story. And one of my fellow hikers said, your story sounds like a good book. I returned to the United States after that solo walkabout through South America of 3 weeks, and I decided that I was going to share my story with the world. That was in 2011, and I published When All Balls Drop last September 2014, exactly 5 years after that tree limb struck me in Hudson River Valley, New York. The sequel is called With New Eyes, The Power of Perspective, and it picks up where When All Balls Drop left off. So When All Balls Drop follows me through a very special 9 months of my life, which I physically healed, and at the end of the book I revisit that same tree that sparked my life change. However, I had not necessarily emotionally healed from a divorce, nor had I professionally picked up the pieces of my life. And so there was many adventures, many mistakes, and also that walkabout that I talked about that is covered in the sequel. And it is already with the publisher. It should be out this September, to be exactly 1 year after the release of the first book, When All Balls Drop. As a special update, I also have a screenplay in Hollywood being written at this at this moment for When All Balls Drop. So there will also be a film version to the first book. So there's a lot of exciting news. I guess that I've found the ideal career for me. It's a blend of my passions, which are writing as well as travel. So the first 2 books that I have written are nonfiction and they're true stories, and that's where I think that I really can provide value to this world. Previously, I was a teacher. The classroom environment wasn't necessarily for me, so I transitioned into communications and marketing and PR. Everything always had to deal with language, and now I'm finding that the way that I can teach but outside of the classroom is through my writing, and also traveling with those that also have the desire to learn about new cultures and maybe see the world with new eyes after traveling. So the third book that is slated is going to be talking about some of those travels, and it'll be called Cubicle to Cuba, which is talking about my transition from the corporate world and working in cubicles to having a hybrid career as a writer and traveler. Well, I just wanted to thank you, and I'm coming from the island of Kauai. So how we say thank you here is mahalo, and I would invite your listeners and also for them to come and visit my website. It is www.myname, which is HeidiSiefkas.com.